The Persian Gulf War was a battle for self-preservation on one hand and justice on the other. When push came to shove, the US Navy stepped up yet again to change the tide of the conflict with its silent yet formidable presence. Everyone knows the might of America quelled the battle for the ages in the Middle East. But here's the million-dollar question. Was her success as monumental as history suggests, or did it pave the way for unseen consequences in the years to come? Find out the burning answers and lots more in today's video. If there is one war that reshaped the Middle East into what it is today, it has to be the Persian Gulf War. Driven by economic and territorial ambitions, Iraq, under the leadership of Saddam Hussein, invaded its smaller next-door neighbor Kuwait on August 2, 1990. The goal was simple: to seize control of Kuwait's vast oil reserves to address Iraq's financial and economic problems following the Iran-Iraq War. Yep, you heard it right. Saddam Hussein's grand plan to boost Iraq's economy, pay off debts and gain greater control over the global oil market was plunging into Kuwait's grail resource. Plus, it didn't help the fact that Iraq had accused Kuwait of overproducing oil, which drove down prices and harmed Iraq's economy. The second reason for the invasion, however, was a perceived right. You see, Iraq claimed that Kuwait was historically part of its territory, and taking it back was simply a reversion to the natural order. Were they right? I'd leave that for you to say. By invading Kuwait, Saddam Hussein aimed to assert Iraq's dominance in the region and gain significant economic and strategic advantages. In any case, the swift invasion posed a significant threat to the stability of the oil-rich Persian Gulf region. Europe and America had a big crisis on their hands, and peace was the only solution. At first, the United Nations condemned Iraq and imposed economic sanctions on the nation, but when the diplomatic efforts failed to resolve the crisis, the stage was set for military intervention. Leading a coalition of 35 nations, the United States swiftly commenced Operation Desert Storm, the codename for the combat phase of the Gulf War, to expel Iraqi forces from Kuwait and restore peace to the region. As part of this massive military effort, the US Navy deployed key submarines to enforce naval blockades and launch devastating Tomahawk land attack missile strikes. But as funny as it sounds, did you know that only 2 submarines were primarily used by the US Navy in the 1991 Persian Gulf War? One of the first to be deployed during the conflict was the USS Louisville, arguably one of the best powerhouses of the Los Angeles class at the time. Whether it was stealth or precision, Louisville was pivotal in almost all of the Navy's attacks. But why? I mean, sure, it was a nuclear-powered attack submarine that represented a unique blend of advanced naval engineering and strategic capability, but given how a couple of submarines also fit the bill, what about this behemoth makes it so special? Commissioned in November 1986, the USS Louisville was built by the General Dynamics Electric Boat Division in Groton, Connecticut. And as you'd expect from a Los Angeles-class submarine, the design of the Louisville focused on speed, stealth, and the ability to operate at various depths. But while the aforementioned categories makes it a formidable vessel in the US Navy's fleet, it's also worth mentioning that the Louisville's hull was constructed using high-strength, low-alloy steel, which allowed it to withstand the intense pressures of deep-sea operations. At the time of its creation, the US Navy wanted a submarine that could perform all kinds of operations and missions, ranging from intelligence gathering to launching precision strikes, all while remaining undetected, and Louisville did just that. Take for instance the Persian Gulf War, when the Louisville actually became the first submarine to launch Tomahawk land attack missiles, TMLAs, in combat. Never heard of it? Alright. To put it simply, TMLAs are long-range, all-weather subsonic cruise missiles equipped with sophisticated guidance systems that allow them to hit targets with high precision from a distance. These deadly missiles targeted Iraqi command and control centers, air defense sites, and other critical infrastructure. So you see, Louisville's ability to launch these strikes from submerged positions made it an invaluable asset to the US Navy's fleet during the conflict in the Gulf War. But speaking of strikes, I'll let you know that the USS Louisville was armed with a powerful and versatile range of weaponry designed to handle a wide range of combat scenarios. It featured 4 21-inch bow torpedo tubes capable of launching the formidable Mk-48 ADCAP torpedoes with superior guidance and propulsion systems. And just like earlier teased, The Louisville was also equipped with Tomahawk land attack missiles, specifically the Block 3 variant of the Submarine-Launched Cruise Missile, or SLCM. These missiles had an impressive range of 1,700 nautical miles, allowing Louisville to strike targets deep inland with pinpoint accuracy. But like that wasn't enough. The Louisville was also capable of laying mines, including the Mk-67 mobile mines and the Mk-60 captor mines, which were designed to intercept enemy submarines and disrupt enemy movements. And guess what? The submarine came with a wide range of advanced technologies that enhanced its combat effectiveness and situational awareness during operations. Among these was the BQQ-5 passive sonar, which could detect and classify sounds in the water without emitting signals that could give away its position. And the BQS-15 detecting and ranging sonar, which provided the Louisville with the ability to actively ping and determine the range and bearing of other objects in the water. This particular feature was crucial for close-quarter detection and when precision in targeting or evasion was required. Was Louisville perfect, though? Not quite. The design of the Louisville had several pros and cons. On the positive side, its nuclear propulsion allowed it to remain submerged for extended periods, providing both endurance and stealth. Additionally, the vessel had a top speed of over 20 knots, which is around 23 miles per hour or 37 kilometers per hour, whether surfaced or submerged. This impressive speed allowed the Louisville to quickly reposition in response to evolving threats, making it agile and elusive during operations. Plus, with the quieting technologies incorporated into its design, such as the use of sound-absorbing tiles and advanced propeller designs, the submarine was actually difficult for enemy forces to detect. However, there were also some drawbacks to the Los Angeles-class design. To start with, although the Louisville's design was cutting edge at the time of its commissioning, advancements of sonar and anti-submarine warfare technologies have since diminished some of its stealth advantages. Secondly, given its massive size, it's hard to imagine the USS Louisville didn't struggle with maneuverability in certain marine environments in the Middle East, especially when compared to smaller submarines. Is it grand enough to be tagged as a major drawback? Not quite. But hey, it's still worth mentioning nonetheless, especially when the second submarine on our list is none other than the USS Pittsburgh. Similar to the USS Louisville, Pittsburgh was also a Los Angeles-class nuclear-powered attack submarine. It was named after the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and its origin story began in the late 70s, when the United States had a fiery passion to enhance its naval capabilities during the Cold War. As a Los Angeles-class submarine, it was designed to counter the growing Soviet submarine threat, focusing on improved speed, stealth, and advanced weaponry. Interestingly, the Pittsburgh was the 33rd submarine of its class, further buttressing just how emphatic the U.S. Navy desired an ideal fleet capable of dominating both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. Built by General Dynamics Electric Boat, the Pittsburgh construction incorporated several advanced features that were cutting edge at the time, such as improved sonar systems and the capability to launch Tomahawk cruise missiles. But before we get into all that, can you guess what the Pittsburgh's hull was made of? Aluminum? Titanium? Composite materials? Well, if your answer isn't high-strength HY80 steel, then you've probably not been paying attention to our channel. This material provides the necessary durability, wieldability, and flexibility to withstand the immense pressure experienced under high pressure. In the case of the USS Pittsburgh, a teardrop-shaped hull was implemented to optimize hydrodynamic efficiency, allowing for higher speeds, both on the surface and while submerged. It also minimized drag, enabling the submarine to achieve speeds in excess of 20 knots while submerged. During the Persian Gulf War, the USS Pittsburgh played a crucial role in many of the naval operations, most especially Operation Desert Storm, where it participated in critical strike missions against Iraq. Equipped with 4 21-inch torpedo tubes, Mk-48 ADCAP torpedoes, and Tomahawk land attack missiles, which had a range of 1,700 nautical miles, Pittsburgh was just as effective as Louisville in terms of striking targets. But personally, I also love the fact that it could deploy M67 mobile mines and Mk-60 captor mines. It made it more than just a threat to surface ships. Plus, it was no slouch in cognizance either. The submarine's BQQ-5 passive sonar system, along with other advanced detection equipment, gave it a significant tactical advantage to track enemy vessels and avoid detection, both of which were crucial for coordinating coalition forces and ensuring the success of broader military operations. In any case, The Pittsburgh was an exceptional submarine at the time. It could stand toe-to-toe with any other nuclear-powered fast attack submarine in its class, as well as those owned outside of the US. However, I can't help but feel its design highlighted both the strengths and weaknesses typical of its class. I'll start with the former. As a Los Angeles-class submarine, it's fair to say the USS Pittsburgh was designed for high speeds both on the surface and submerged. In fairness, its ability to reach and even exceed 20 knots checked this box. Submarines need to quickly position themselves for attack, evasion, and reconnaissance missions, and Pittsburgh's rapid pace allowed it to do just that. The fact that it was also equipped with sophisticated sonar systems like the BQQ-5 passive sonar and the BQS-15 detecting and ranging sonar made it a noble asset. The aforementioned systems provided superior underwater detection capabilities, allowing submarines to track and engage enemy vessels during conflicts. Yet, it was still far from the finished article. During the Persian Gulf War, the coalition was just heads and shoulders above Iraq. Take, for instance, the fact that Operation Desert Sabre lasted only 100 hours. Many Iraqi troopers even surrendered without engaging in battle, overwhelmed by the prolonged coalition air campaign and the rapid, powerful ground defense. Would you blame them, though? Many Iraqi troops were war-weary conscripts, forced to fight in a conflict they did not support, and trained primarily in static defense. While their arsenal included some modern Western, Chinese, and Soviet systems, it mostly comprised older Soviet models. In contrast, the all-volunteer forces of the United States and Britain were equipped with a range of advanced weaponry, and this allowed the US to basically get away with some of its flaws. While the Los Angeles-class submarines were notably capable of attack, as I've already highlighted, many were known to have limited depth when compared to some of their counterparts, such as the Russian Akula class. And how about its operational constraints? Similar to the USS Louisville, the Pittsburgh was relatively large, which again could limit its maneuverability in shallow or confined waters. Smaller, more agile submarines tend to do better in this niche, and that's why they often win in head-to-head battles tailored to this context. Don't even get me started about the noise levels. Compared to the other classes that came after it, you'd be hard-pressed to say the Los Angeles class's noise levels wouldn't make it more detectable. But that's not to say Pittsburgh itself wasn't worth appraising. Its improved hull shape and sound dampening techniques reduced its acoustic signature by a wide margin. This made the Pittsburgh harder to detect, while also being better at avoiding enemy anti-submarine warfare systems and maintaining the element of surprise in operations, compared to most of the submarines in its class. Finally, Pittsburgh's armor was by no means a slouch, with 21-inch bow torpedo tubes capable of launching Mk-48 ADCAP torpedoes, Tomahawk land attack missiles, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and mine-laying capabilities. The Pittsburgh had insane versatility. Retrospectively speaking, the Persian Gulf War was a huge success for the coalition from a statistical perspective. While official figures for the Iraqi military operation are largely non-existent, the number of Iraqi military casualties ranges from 8,000 to 50,000. In contrast, Allied deaths were relatively low. During Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, only 147 US personnel and 47 British troops were killed in action, with about 1,000 coalition troops estimated to be wounded. But don't take this to mean it all went as planned. The aftermath of the Gulf War was a fragile piece, painted with sanctions, tensions, and the lingering smell of future conflict. The volatile environment in its wake set the stage for more battles to come, including the 2003 invasion of Iraq, which led to even more turmoil and devastation. But hey, if you want to know all about it and more, then this is easily the right place to be. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when a new video drops. And while you're at it, don't just stop here. Check out the channel's plethora of amazing videos like this.